So I will read the passages.
Okay.
If the man who is taken by love used to be an attendant on Zeus, he will be able to bear the burden of his feathered force with dignity. But if it is one of the Ares troops who has fallen prisoner of love, if that is the god with whom he took the circuit, then if he has the slightest suspicion that the boy he loves has done him wrong, he turns murderous and he is ready to make a sacrifice of himself as well as the boy.
Here he talks about how Ares, this is the god of war. So if you're a soldier, then you tend to be more violent. But Zeus is actually super violent himself.
Yeah. So here's also a very interesting passage because he said at the before that the horses of the gods are very good, right? Good. So they don't have bad horses. And then in this passage, Zeus is different from the traditional one, right? Because if his horses are good, so he cannot be the traditional Zeus in the Greek mythology, and instead he is the best ruler, the philosopher, right? And the one of this character. So it's a philosophical Zeus, Plato's philosophical Zeus instead. But interestingly, Ares, who was also one of the 12 gods,
The 12 Olympians.
yes, and here is depicted as still not 100% good, right?
There's a thing that I believe Plato disagrees with with Homer as well. So what does it mean for God to be good? Because what defines whether something is good or bad? Or whether something is moral? Is there according to Plato, there's something objectively good, right? There's something objectively. I don't think this is Homer's view. So here there's another difference. The main thing is that gods cannot die, and if you cannot die, you cannot be brave because you're not risking anything, and also you cannot understand a lot of the human emotions. And if you cannot understand them, maybe your idea of goodness is different from the idea of goodness of people. This is Homer's view, whereas in Plato it's totally different.
Okay. Hello.
Hi.
Great. You are there. Oh,
yeah, I'm actually.
You enjoy the sunshine.
Exactly. I'm on a beach which just opened yesterday.
In Berlin.
Yeah, in Berlin, Plötzensee.
I know that place. Yeah. Yeah. Great. So, thanks for coming. Or you just want to say hello and then enjoy the sunshine further?
No. I want to enjoy the sunshine along with Phaedrus.
That's a good approach.
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay. We just read the passage, the short passage. And now when you are here, and I will begin and read a new passage further. It's 252d. Okay. I will read also slowly and short sentence so we can discuss more closely according to the text. Yeah. Okay. So it is with each of the gods. Everyone spends his life honoring the god in whose chorus he danced and emulates that God in every way he can, so long as he remains undefiled and in his first life done here. And that is how he behaves with everyone at every turn, not just with those he loves. Everyone chooses his love after his own fashion from among those who are beautiful, and then treats the boy like his very own God, building him up and adorning him as an image to honor and worship. Any questions?
Yeah, you might have answered this during the previous meetings, but I want to ask, because I have never seen anywhere else in an ancient Greek text a view of the afterlife that we have here. That is, you don't just die and just stay in a place like a zombie. Whereas here in Phaedrus, you die, then you can come back. Is this unique to Phaedrus, or have you seen any other examples of this view of the afterlife?
You mean reincarnation?
Reincarnation, but also the afterlife is very different from the one depicted in the Odyssey. And I've really never seen anything like this, and I was wondering whether Plato invented it, because if he did, then it is significant why he chose this particular depiction. If he didn't invent it, then I would like to know where it comes from. Who was the first to, or what other sources do we have that have a similar view of what happens to you after you die?
I can't answer this question. Hokun, do you have any answer?
No.
Okay, we can skip it.
Yeah, I don't. I only know the Plato's
Okay, we can skip it.
Plato's view about this, and I don't know where it comes from and the other way of depicting it.
Okay.
And here, I want to emphasize a little bit one very central problem in philosophy. Is how, like, especially in a philosophy direction called virtue ethics. So basically, why you should choose to become a virtuous person or a good person. So like Aristotle's answer is you imitate the good people and like observe their behavior and identificate yourself with them, and then practice them in daily life, kind of like this this view, and like just to imitate the better or the good. And here we have a Platon version of it. It's kind of like, instead of identificating yourself to a person in life, here it's to imitate the gods. So if you have seen the God in the life before, and then you saw him, and then now Plato means you will emulate that God in every way. And not only in the love, but you can say not only to your beloved or to your lover, but also behaves with everyone at every turn. So then it's just kind of like then the love eros here is linked also to virtue or to the good. Basically, I think this is a very central mechanism. Any question, comments to this?
I'm wondering if there's a difference from his view. Some God is better. Some that God has a higher virtue compared to other gods. For example, in his view, does he think Eros is worse?
Yeah. I know. So you mean not to every virtue, because Ares is also a god. So you're looking for Ares, and Ares is kind of like a god for roughness, rashness. So he's not so reasonable sometimes, and he also have a very bad horse. So he slept with Aphrodite, who is like Hephaestus' wife. So also like virtual, not a very virtuous figure. I think you catch the point. So if you im, if you like imitate the gods, and then also one of them is Ares, so you not only learn what is good, but could also learn what is bad, right?
Yeah, yeah. Like from the last paragraph, we have this kind of example from Eros. So if he get imitated, he might just sacrifice himself, right, with a boy. Which
Yeah.
from today's view, I think it's not a good thing.
Ah,
But
you mean in our society, if you sleep with a young boy, it's also not a good thing.
no, not about that. But like if you check the last paragraph, it says that if it turns modulus if he believes the boy done something wrong or bad to him, and he will, die along with the boy, which I don't know. From today's point of view, it's not good. But what's the standpoint from the Plato? What do you guys think? Is there a judgment from him, or he think it's just a different way to live in the world?
Isn't he being a little bit ironic, actually, in the previous paragraph, where he talks first about Zeus and then about Ares? Zeus is the most notoriously bad god in terms of lust. He sleeps with everybody, and he doesn't care at all. So, isn't he in a way using irony to tell us, well, whatever you do, you're not the best person?
You mean Ares, right? Or Zeus?
Zeus is worse than Ares. So if you follow Ares, you're going to be rash. But if you're Zeus, you're going to want to sleep with whoever. You see a beautiful woman, okay, I have to sleep with her. Whether she's married doesn't matter. That you are married doesn't matter.
So Hokun's question is more concerned about Ares. So I would say Alex introduces the figure of Zeus, and about Zeus we just before you came, Hokun, we discussed about that. So Zeus is in traditional understanding not all good, and also definitely not like symbol for philosophy and self-control. So so Plato is here kind of like philosophizing Zeus, like he gave Zeus a total new meaning here, kind of like, so make it coherent as what a god should be or should be like. But about Ares, I think it's a little bit different, because I can read one example. I think it's relevant and very shortly. The sorrow of the young Werther. The Wolfgang von Goethe's work. Did you hear that? 少年维特之烦恼.
I'm not familiar with that. I've heard about it, just the title.
Yes. So here is, I think Goethe just wrote a book, like demonstrate what Plato means here, like the roughness of the love, or the unbelievable powerful and wild aspect of love, which can turn into murder and just damage to yourself and other people. And so I think those two cases is a little bit different about Ares and about Zeus. And Ares here, I think we can say also typical Plato. You can never catch him. So somewhere you think they must be think love as totally good, but here he had some backdoor, Ares. And also very strong in explaining love affairs in real life. So sometimes people get gone crazy like Iris, and so and even a reasonable person, maybe to some extent in some period of his life or her life,
Yeah.
And the third the explanation was very typical under those scholars is Alex's view. So Plato cannot be serious here. He's just irony, joking around. So this passage, because it's not very coherent, so Plato is only joking. That's also one way to understand it, and also popular under some scholars. Yeah.
Okay. That okay. Yeah, a bit is joking. Okay.
Sorry, too much, right?
I didn't expect that because I take it seriously. But I mean, from what we have read previously, he was also have this kind of like style.
Yeah, joking around, right? Humor.
Yeah.
Humorous. So here, any further question or comments? Alex?
Thinking it so far now.
Okay, thanks. So I will emphasize some two phrases there. So the lover takes the boy or the beloved like his own God, adorning him as the image to honor and worship, and at the same time building him up. So you can see the first foreshadowing of the educative power of love. So here is the first time. That's all from my side. If no further question, I will read the next passage. Those who follow the Zeus, for example, choose someone to love who is Zeus himself in the nobility of his soul. So they make sure he has a talent for philosophy and the guidance of others. And once they have found him and are in love with him, they do everything to develop that talent. If any lovers have not yet embarked on this practice, then they start to learn, using any source they can, and also making progress on their own. They are well equipped to track down their God's true nature with their own resources because of their driving need to gaze at the God. And as they are in touch with the God by memory, they are inspired by him and adopt his customs and practices so far as a human being can share a God's life. Here's an elaboration of how this imitation or emulation looks like. Any question? Comments?
Does the inspiration should always come from a God? Can it come from within? Like a more atheistic view. Can you want to be good for the sake of being good, not because you want to be like Zeus? By the way, he's not a philosopher at all.
Alex, you touch a very, very central question, and it's too long to.
You can skip it.
Yeah, no, I think it's a good one. So in the dialogue, Plato really treated this question, and in that in his discussing of piety. So basically, like if you are a good person for the good sake or for the God's sake. And there's a lot of problems in this discussion as usual, and that is like Socratic dialogue, so it does not to come to a conclusion. Anyway, it's a very, I think what you said is in several aspects interesting. The first is, as we said, was the old question, Zeus is not a philosopher at all. So it's a Platonic Zeus, right?
Yeah.
In this case. And so you can see Plato did exactly what you said. For the good sake, write this passage, not for Zeus' sake.
Exactly. Exactly.
So, and the second is, I think, a more like a religious question. And how about if the God loves you because you are good, or he just loves you? If he loves you only because you are good, so he's also was a problem, you know. But if he loves you even though you are not good, also a problem. So that's a very deep dilemma. The problem you raised. So that's not an easy question. But in any case, here we have more like details about how we imitate gods in love affairs. Like so, and for me, Plato also very, very profoundly point out the first fact is that different people have different dispositions, so they will love different type of people. So then, like Apollon and Zeus and Athena or some and so on and so forth, they have different disposition or different characters, right? According to the traditional myth. So this is the first fact. So he's totally aware of a diversity of eros or love. So in Chinese we said the carrot and the cabbages. Everybody has his favorite, right? Just or in English, maybe it's just a taste stuff.
It takes all sorts to make a world.
Yeah.
This expression.
Yes. And so the first one is he used different examples. The first is Zeus, and so okay, you looked at Zeus when you were flying in the heaven, right? And so you see a beautiful boy, and then you remember Zeus and remember his shining philosophy and his shining guidance and leadership, right? It's basically like that. So then you will try to develop in yourself love themselves also. It's not only educate the beloved young boy, but they themselves also. So they will try to learn. If they are not good in leadership and philosophy, they will learn that, right? So they start to learn, and they were using any source they can and also making process on their own. Be like Tolkien, even though on beach, they will still go to philosophy, right?
Can I ask or mention one more thing? You use the word piety, which today is defined as if you're pious, you honor the gods, do what's right toward the gods. This is the current definition, right? More or less. Whereas in ancient Greece, when this was written, the word piety, well, the Greek word, I don't remember it, meant something like, if you were pious, you did what was supposed to be done with everyone. You were respectful toward your parents. You were respectful toward your neighbor. It wasn't just about God. And
yes.
I think this is kind of important.
Yes. So I mentioned piety not being in this context, but because you mentioned the question goodness and God, so I mentioned then if you are interested in this question, you can go to Demos, and then you can find the whole book is discussing what is piety. So exactly what the question you asked. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a very short dialogue. Yeah.
Thank you.
Exactly. And so here, then using the sources, and then like by their memories they have seen in the last life, and then inspired by the God and adapt to his customs and practices. That's, I think that's what you mean, Alex. Even so, in Greek word, so then this piety or this religious activities also there, and it's extended also to the social society, social society. Say, yeah, exactly. And that's about this short passage. Any further question or comments? No? Then I will proceed. For all of this, they know they have the boy to thank, and so they love him all the more. And if they draw their inspiration from Zeus, then, like the Bacchants, they pour it into the soul of the one they love, in order to help him take on as much of their own God's qualities as possible. Hera's followers look for a kingly character, and once they have found him, they do all the same things for him. And so it is for followers of Apollon or any other god. They take their god's path and seek for their own a boy whose nature is like the gods. And when they have got him, they emulate the god, convincing the boy they love and training him to follow their god's pattern and way of life, so far as it is possible in each case. Any comments to this passage? Any question? No. And it's very similar to the one we just read, right? But it extended to Hera. They show no envy, no mean-spirited lack of generosity towards the boy, but make every possible effort to draw him into being totally like themselves and the God to whom they are devoted. So here emphasize that this love is kind of imitation of God. So and also according to Plato, the gods have no envy, also like an invention of himself. Right. And
he has different gods.
Yes, he has different gods as the Greeks. And also very, very unusual for love affairs, right? Because love affairs is usually associated with envy. This then is any true lover's heart's desire. If he follows that desire in the manner I described, this friend who has been driven mad by love will secure a consummation for the one he has befriended. That is as beautiful and blissful as I said. Yes, if of course he captures him. So here he has the words true lover's heart's desire. And maybe also a little bit to the Lysias' view. So that one is definitely not a true lover's heart's desire. That's just a desire without love. And the second is also a very interesting passage. So here he says, will secure a consummation for the one he has befriended. That is as beautiful and blissful as I said. So, which put us a question: why the platonic love here in Phaedrus includes sex or not? Any opinion about that? Is sex included?
Let me read it again. Secure consummation. What other consummation of that can there be? I'm not sure whether this is the original word though.
Mm.
There's a footnote reading teloite. Whatever, I don't know what else this word means, but maybe since there's a footnote, the translator wants to tell us that this is not an exact translation.
I think maybe that could be two different
concepts,
two different original texts. So here he read it as teloite. Teloite, I think it's telos. Some like the how to say form, other forms of have the same root as telos.
Mm.
Then here's the thing fallen down, right? And consummation, he translated it.
Mm. So how could you, even if the translation is all right, how could you what does it mean to consume your love? Why? Just become partners? Why isn't sex kind of implied?
I think consummation, I'm not sure. Consummation's English word could also be just sleep with each other, right?
Yeah, this is what exactly it means. This is the way you would talk about sex if you didn't want to use the word.
Yeah. So I just mean then if we follow excuse me. Like following this translation, it seems to be the sex is included, right?
Yes. But maybe in another translation it will not be that obvious.
Yeah. So we will go along, but we can bear this question in mind. So is in Phaedrus like platonic love including sex? And here it seems slightly like not very strong, but slightly supporting point for it, right?
There's another word that supports it. If, of course, he captures.
Yeah.
You capture a rabbit in a trap. Or you capture an enemy.
That's a later. So that's the later passage. So what this capture means? It can also means like in Symposium's case, right? Socrates definitely captured Aristophanes, right? And no, Aristophanes? No, Alcibiades. But he did not sleep with Alcibiades.
I think he captivated him.
Huh?
I would use the word captivate in this way, not capture.
Okay.
I believe sex is included based on this translation.
Yeah, we will go further. Yeah. Did you have any question, Hukun?
No, I don't have questions.
Okay. So then the following passage is so famous and so vivid, but philosophically it's not so difficult. So But also not so difficult to understand, I think, because Plato did a very good job. But later on, it's just like such an important framework for understand psyche, like triparty of, so like we talked about like Sigmund Freud, right? It's basically is Plato's follower and so on and so forth. So this is he laid on a framework of us to understand soul or psyche or psychology or Plato's psychology here basically. And in a totally literary language, right? It's, you can see it's just not philosophy, it's literature, but somehow it's so so famous. Okay, then I will begin. Remember how we divided each soul in three at the beginning of a story, two parts in the form of horses and the third in that of a charioteer? Let us continue with that. One of the horses we said is good and the other not. But we did not go into the details of the goodness of the good horse or the badness of the bad. Any question? No? Then I'll go.
I have one question. It's
Yes.
again linguistic. Is the Greek word for soul psyche?
Yes. Plato used it to write this down.
Because in Homer, the word psyche is much more inclusive than the word soul in modern English. So probably here the same.
Yes. Just psyche is the word Plato used for soul.
Okay.
Or we translate the word into soul. Yeah.
Yeah, but soul is more limiting than the original word. Okay.
That's a very, very long story also.
Yeah.
And any further question, Hogan?
No.
So I will go further. Let us do that now. The horse that is on the right or nobler side is upright in frame and well jointed, with a high neck and a regal nose. His coat is white, his eyes are black, and he is a lover of honor with modesty and self-control. Companion to true glory, he needs no whip and is guided by verbal commands alone. The other horse is a crooked great jumble of lines, with a short bar neck, a park nose, black skin, and bloodshot white eyes, companion to wide boasts and indecency. He is shaggy around the ears, deaf as a post, and just barely yield to horse shape and goat combined. Now it's description of the two horses. Basically one good, one bad, right? Only with more description. But interesting, no description of the charioteer. So, right? The charioteer, how is him? What does he really looks like? What does not mean he's kind of reason? No, he's in.
I think this is standard for that society, that horses were more valued than the charioteers, because the charioteers could literally be slaves.
Oh, so you mean here there's a charioteer, the slave.
And the slave was basically a tool that can speak. Whereas a good horse, I can tell that in Homer you can see much more praise of horses than of charioteers. So I guess this is just something that's societal. The horses are more important.
Oh, okay. You mean it? Plato suggests that the horses are more important than charioteer here.
Maybe he believes that, and he doesn't even realize that for an audience after 2,400 years, it might sound weird. It's like nowadays you can talk about the Ferrari and the Lamborghini, but you don't necessarily talk about the guy who has it. On the street, when you see a Ferrari on the street, you mention the car.
I think we It's like I understand what you mean. So in that society, horses are very important.
Yes,
Like
yes, I know.
yes, but for Plato's in the whole passage, you can see charioteers much more important than the horses, and then because he represents reason. My question is. My question is why Plato didn't go into detail and elaborate some characteristics of the reason or of the charioteer. You can feel that, and so I would say that would be better. And of course, he will do that in other books, but not here. And also in his three-party of the soul, he will also discuss reason itself. But here he didn't mention that.
Yeah, he was.
So I think it's not because the reason is not important, but somehow here it is not explained what is reason like, or what is the reason even. There's a comments on the question. Now when the charioteer looks in the eye of love, his entire soul is suffused with a sense of warmth and starts to feel with tingles and the goading of desire. And here you can see even the reason itself has desire. But at least we can see it's also interesting. Not only the two horses, but also this reason. And you can see the reason the charioteer looks in the eyes of love. So he also has sensations, seems to me to be a vivid picture, but it's only a picture, right? But for us, if we go into details, it becomes interesting. As for the horses, the one who is obedient to the charioteer is still controlled, then as always, by its sense of shame, and so prevents itself from jumping on the boy. The other one, however, no longer responds to the whip or the goad of the charioteer. It leaps violently forward and does everything to aggravate its yoke-mate and its charioteer, trying to make them go up to the boy and suggest to him the pleasures of sex. So here,
the word sex. So again.
yeah. And then I'm thinking of like here, in a whole, it's just a beginning, right? In a whole, we have the feeling without the bad horse, Eros is not possible, right?
Because you just have this passion, this desire,
right,
to go for it.
Yeah.
Straight away.
Yeah. So I think for Plato, sex or the bad horse is also important, right? At least at the very beginning, or maybe always. I will interpret at least from this passage that way. So sex is also included, but maybe should be the ultimate goal, right? At first, the other two resist, angry in their. How can you have something to say?
Yeah, I was not following your last part. You said something. The sex or like this bad horse is also important because what?
Because without them, eros or love would not be possible, right? You can see it's a kickoff meeting of a project.
Right? Okay, so this desire was the motivation to have this the possibility of the connection with the love or whatever.
Yes, and you here also Hukun for you to we can also maybe interesting for Alex. But now we call the Chinese society, especially the young generation, no desire or low desire society.
We do. I didn't know this.
Huh?
I didn't know that we do that. Okay.
Because the young people seems to be kind of lost the interest in dating someone else or desire.
Okay.
Yes, like they kind of hopeless to a certain extent because they don't see the possibility if they, for example, make efforts, but they don't see high chance to get returns, and as a result, most young people there's a term called laying down, so don't do proactive steps, just follow whatever they have.
They just lie down flat, sometimes lying down and lay back or something like that, even in love affairs. So they find, okay, now if I need to go for a date, I need to dress up or I need to get up off my bed and I even need some money. And why should I make any effort to earn money or to date someone or even, and also it's not usually out of my control. So some women I find attractive and they don't like me, but someone after 10 dates, I find someone interested in me, but I'm not interested in her. So why wasting so much effort? And so on and so forth. So it kind of seemed to me like they are bad horses, kind of like losing their power for the whole generation even. So it's very interesting. Yeah. So it's not, so I would say even for Plato, this pleasure of sex has a kind of like negative connotation right here, or it's negative depicted, but it's also necessary. The problem is it should not take in lead, I think, basically, right? Further comments? At first, the other two resist, angry in their belief that they are being made to do things that are dreadfully wrong. At last, however, when they see no end to their trouble, they are led forward, reluctantly agreeing to do as they have been told. So they are close to him now, and they are struck by the boy's face as if by a bolt of lightning. When the charioteer sees that face, his memory is carried back to the real nature of beauty capitalized. And he sees it again where it stands on the sacred pedestal next to self-control. So here, the initiate phase of love is depicted, and the joy, the beauty has to play, and also the different part of the soul has to do. And the beauty of the people is the boy's face is like a bolt of lightning. And for the charioteer, also here he is depicted, then his memory of the beauty, the capitalized beauty in the heaven is carried back. So it's just like recollected his knowledge of the beauty, and he sees it again, and it stands on the secret pedestal next to self-control. Self-control also capitalized. So here we have a depiction of the ideas themselves. So we can see it's kind of like here a statue, right? it exists, it's somewhere and have some form or existence, and like something stand on a pedestal, and those are the beauty, at least, and the self-control, and they are neighbors. Yeah. Further comments, questions? No. At the sight, he's frightened, falls over backwards, awestruck, and at the same time, he has to pull the reins back so fiercely that both horses are set on their haunches, one falling back voluntarily with no resistance, but the other insolent and quite unwilling. They pull back a little further, and while one horse drenches the whole soul with sweat out of shame and awe, the other, once it has recovered from the pain caused by the bee bite and its fall, bursts into a torrent of insults as soon as it has caught its breath, accusing its charioteer and yoke-mate of all sorts of cowardice and unmanliness for abandoning their position and their agreement. Now once more it tries to make its unwilling partners advance and give in grudgingly only when they beg it to wait till later. And so this passage is like the second passage of the development, right? So the first initiative, they see the beautiful boy and get interested, and here kind of like self-control get into, and both then self-control has, or moderation has three parts to play. For the charioteer, his recollection of self-control make him to pull the rein, and so control the horses. And the good horses kind of like obeyed him, but the bad horses just then a lot of dirty words or something like that, right? Very reluctantly and just rebellion. Like today in the West society, because self-control or or moderation is not a value that really is prioritized. So this picture is quite weird. So why control yourself like this? Right? Any comments, questions about this passage? No, then proceed. Then when the promised time arrives and they are pretending to have forgotten, it reminds them, it struggles, it neighs, it pulls them forward and forces them to approach the boy again with the same proposition. And as soon as they are near, it drops its head, strengthens its tail, bites the bit, and pulls without any shame at all. So here, it was very interesting. So the charioteer, the reason, and also the carriage, the good horse, are told to be pretending. The hypocrisy kind of like, and you can see the function of the bad horse. It's just trying to always getting forward and forces, and with shameless, right? Do everything he can to achieve the goal, which is the sex. Further question? Question? No?
The picture is so vivid. This kind of a bad source providing the or persuading the other to going forward. I'm
Yes.
wondering if we talked about the madness. I'm wondering, does madness or the bad horse are the only source? I guess it should be the main source for the madness, right? Do you guys think that's the only source of the madness?
I think it's a very good question. Alex, do you have any response to that? No? Basically, you are saying generally the charioteer or the reason and the good horse or the courage and does not get mad, right? The cause, the divine madness, which one really is mad is the horse, and also kind of making the other two parts mad, also the bad horse, which is appetitive or desire. I think it's a very, very good way to look at it, and I think even worse of a paper. This is because then it becomes so interesting. Then what is divine is appetitive, right? Because your word is divine madness. So then madness definitive the only have the bad horse, only the bad horse has it. And even if the two horses have, then it comes from the bad horse. And because so he is mad. And if he is mad and love is a divine madness, and then it seems to us then that part which have the strongest connect to the God are those bad horses, which is also weird. Anyway, I think it's a very, very good observation. The charioteer is now stuck with the same feeling as before, only worse, and he's falling back as he would from a starting gate. And he violently yanks the bit back out of the teeth of the insolent horse, only harder this time, so that he bloodies its foul-speaking tongue and jaws, sets its legs and hunches firmly on the ground, and gives it over to pain. When the bad horse has suffered the same thing, time after time, it stops being so insolent. Now it is humble enough to follow the charioteer's warnings, and when it sees the beautiful boy, it dies of fright, with the result that now at least the lover's soul follows its boy in reverence and awe. Any comments? And I would say this is a very good depiction of Plato's of the reason taming the appetite or the desire. And we can say it's basically by violence. So in the whole passage, violence plays an important role. And especially the violence of reason or violence of the charioteer. Basically, if we mention the word of reason, it seems to be like persuasive and soft, mild, gentle. But here, in this passage, the reason has such a violent character and unbelievable for me. How can reason be violent? What do you think?
Actually, I have a question for you. Given what your observation and reasoning with this kind of violence application, do you agree with that?
Hmm?
Do you
Approve?
agree?
Huh?
No. Do you agree that violence is kind of essential or important in scenarios like this for reasoning to use it?
Am I understanding correctly? You're asking whether violence can be justified.
Yeah, maybe that's another way to put it. I'm just wondering from your guys' perspective, do you agree that violence in scenarios like that is important?
I think basically, if the answer is yes, right, and definitely is Plato's in this case, and Plato thinks it's important. In short, reason, when the reason is confronted by some bad guys, right, he need to control them. He need to fix them. And Plato has a very realistic view of these situations. So the only way a good person, usually associated with reason, seem to just grab to violence. Unbelievable.
What was your example? Same as what?
What do you mean? My example for what?
You said that same as what I didn't hear that clearly.
Just like now we have a good guy, the charioteer, right? Who presents reason, and a bad guy, which is the bad horse, right? Who represents desire, and also is very rude, right? Not following any kind of instruction, and Plato's answer is not to try to propagate him or try to persuade him and repeat your words or make an argument. No, what he says is to drain the ruin, right? And until there's blood from that bad horse's mouth, and to pour the rinse violently again and again, and it stops being so insolent. Now it's humble enough to follow the charioteer's warnings. So basically it's like this. So maybe if we have a very bad guys in the world like the North Korea, what we can do is not just like to teach them something, send them some books or something like that. It's just fix him. Or in a leadership position, there's always some bad guys, right? You cannot argue with him. And then in those cases, you also need to fix them. I think Plato just means something like this.
Okay,
Or my interpretation, right?
Very illustrative example. Actually, I was more thinking from individual perspective. Like I was imagining internally, I do have charioteer and have a bad and a good horses, and I want to do something. I want to have a good habit, whatever. But then the bad horse doesn't want to do that. Imagine if I should use violence to fix it, and if that would work, even.
I think your view is much better than mine because it's really an individual that's inside of human psyche, right? I think your reading is more close to what Plato means. So you can I interpret your view like this? So our old example, my reason, my charioteer says less phone time. That's good for my brain and also for my eyes, right? But my desire or like backed up by the algorithms, always jump forward, want my hand get to the phones, right? So then, how should I violently pull my desire back? For me, I only lock my phone as soon as I enter my flat. So that is a physical violence, just locks it. But can you imagine how in this scenario the charioteer like tames the bad horse?
I would imagine that to be more violently, really violently, because like from some movies, whatever I've seen, so such religious figures or even some people, they try to tame themselves in the way by physically, do something to themselves, like whip themselves.
Ah, okay. Okay, so every time I play my phone with my phone for 20 minutes, then I uh, grab a wheat and
Or snap your
hit
face.
myself or
Yes,
slap my face.
yes,
Oh, okay. Mm. Until it's blood.
yes. Then you fix yourself.
Good suggestion. Thank you.
Give it a shot. But I doubt you will work. I don't know. Like for myself, I feel it's,
Mm. That's exactly the second question following. So, how is the violence of reason? How does the violence of reason work in the human soul, right?
Mhm.
I also think about that. So reason, because it is not something physical, right? Does in fact have no, it does not have any access to say human hand or something like that, or a whip. So how can he demonstrate violence?
Mm.
Yeah, so that's another also interesting question. And the third is how to understand the violence of reason. Like sometimes I find my behavior or my ways of thinking already like a little bit violent, because sometimes when I talk with other people, and I always try to organize what they have been said, and this kind of like activities are not so like the that's my favorite, and I'm also believe in the value of it. But a side effect is it could be really unpleasant in some cases for some people, and even rude, and say like just violent. Sometimes I also think of that too. So that's also how we understand the violence of reason, say. But is going a little bit too much, too far away. In any case, this is the most interesting question for me, at least, in this vivid picture of Plato's. Here, the reason is definitely using violence. And how could that be? How can he use violence? What does this mean, violence of the reason? And like and so on and so forth. The questions around this was the most interesting question for me for this passage, and also wrote an essay in the university about it.
What did you write about?
Just the reason, the violence of reason. What does that mean?
Okay.
And there are a lot of controversy from it or problems with it. Even to think about the violence of reason is a little bit weird.
Is it in German or in English?
In English.
Okay, share that with me. I'll be curious.
You want to? Anyway, I'm not confident enough to send that to you, to be honest.
Okay.
And the teacher didn't like that at all. He gave me a 3.0. It's the lowest point I ever got in the university.
But that's also kind of his view, right?
What does that mean? His views, I think he does not like the idea at all, like violence of reason. He thinks I over-interpreted the text.
Okay. So you don't think he's kind of biased to that?
No, not at all.
Okay.
And that guy's philology, not from philosophy somehow. So I think from his view, maybe a lot of like translation and textual problems, like my old ancient Greek was not good enough. It is not good enough. So maybe that's also the reason. In any case, so I will not send that text to you because I'm myself also not confident enough for it.
No problem.
Yeah. Alex, do you have any comments, questions?
Just listen until the end of the discussion, if that's okay.
Okay. 255 now A. I will read another also interesting passage. It's a slightly a new subject. And because he is served with all the attentions due a god by a lover who is not pretending otherwise, but is truly in his throes of love, and because he is by nature disposed to be a friend of the man who is serving him, even if he has already been set against love by school friends or others who say that it is shameful to associate with a lover, and initially rejects the lover in consequence. As time goes forward, he is brought by his ripening age and a sense of what must be to a point where he lets the man spend time with him. So now we kind of like the passage before are basically describing the lover, the old man, while gazing at the beautiful boy, feel this what he feels, what happening inside of the lover. Say, but now because eros is a relationship, so here the beloved is also get involved in the description. And basically, at the very beginning, the young boy saying, "Hey, what's going on, right? Why this old man gazing at me? Why he looks so mad, right?" And so on and so forth. So here's the point is like slowly transferring from the old man to the young boy. and also has something to do with the society. So even at that time, in the Greek world, also a lot of voices say this is morally bad to get involved in a sexual or erotic relationship with those old men. It's shameful to associate with them. But he says, as time goes forward, so then he's kind of like lets the man spend time with him. So it develops according to Plato. It is a decree of fate, you see, that bad is never friends with bad, while good cannot fail to be friends with good. Here's this, also a very long discussion beforehand, like what does that mean, friends only between the good and the good? And here Plato just give as a conclusion, first point, it's a decree of fate. So here he didn't discuss this premises, just take it for granted. So good friends, good cannot fail to be friends with good. Now that he allows his lover to talk and spend time with him, and the man's goodwill is close at hand, the boy is amazed by it as he realizes that all the friendship he has from his other friends and relatives put together is nothing compared to that of this friend who is inspired by a god.
What does this the bad is never friends with bad, and while good cannot fail to be friends with good? What does good and bad here means? Do they just want to use that as an argument to support when this old man and young boy they get together and yeah, so because they are both good, and that's why they go together.
It's I think as I understand it, there's two layers in your question. The first one is huge, right? What is the good? And the second one is friendship is why is friendship can only exist between the good and the good, right? The two good people.
Mm-hmm.
And the first one is really huge. So I can try to answer it in the framework of Phaedrus, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the good is the form in the heaven on the pedestal, just like the beauty and the self-control.
Mm.
And the good here, the two good people then could mean those who have saw a lot of picture or even the full picture or great part of the picture of the good in the heaven.
Yeah, and that if interpreted that way, I can understand. And at the same time, the bad is never friends with bad. What does this mean? Like literally, what does this mean?
Literally. So first, then we just try to answer this in a simpler way. So if a bad person, when he or she is really bad in any aspects, right? So he can be unpleasant, he can be shameless, he can be like the how to say that damaging or like poisonous or something like that. So every kind of so every interaction with him or her are not friendly, or you cannot feel okay, he or she is a friend of mine, right? Only so that's the extreme case of say a relationship. So that two people, the two guys in a relationship, say one of them is really bad in every aspect, right? And then how can a friendship between him or her and the other person be possible? You know, it's not possible, because friendship, like we talked about this a long time ago. I mean, sorry, a lot of it be alongside this reading group. We read the Symposium, the Lysis, especially the Lysis and the Aristotle. So basically, whether say from the view of Aristotle, for example, whether from pleasure or from utility, you must get some positive feedback in a relationship. Otherwise, you won't call it a friendship, right? So two really bad people, they just feel also get bad feedback in every aspect from the other people, other person. So they cannot be called friends, right? I think that's basically means like this. And the second one, so what the bad means? Maybe the bad here means, even if we go back to Phaedrus, those people who never see the good as a form in the heaven, and or cannot remember it at all, not in not in any aspects of the good. They just totally forgot it or didn't see it at all. Okay, does this make sense for you?
I think in extreme case, yes, but in non-extreme case, maybe not. Like there's no super bad people. They probably have some aspect or at least some interest for other bad people, and they can exchange interest in that case, right?
Alex, do you have any response to this?
No.
No? We in fact, we also discussed this earlier. So in the scenario you're describing, then it's the good aspect makes them friends, or in spite of some bad aspects they have, right? They do
Okay,
not.
so they
Yeah,
fall into the second category in that case.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay, then it makes sense.
Yeah. And then I will go on with the text. After the lover has spent some time doing this, staying near the boy and even touching him during sports and on other occasions, then the sporine that feeds the stream Zeus named Desire, when he was in love with Ganymede, begins to flow mightily in the lover and is partly absorbed by him. And when he's filled, it overflows and runs away outside him. Yes. And here, we come across with a passage which is very interesting and or vivid and also a little bit weird. So he describes something like a flow between lovers. In Chinese, it's 秋波, right? And in 253e, he already says something like his entire soul is suffused with a sense of warmth and starts to fill with tingles and the goading of desire. So here's further description first in the inside of the lover. So when the lover sees the boy, then he feels this desire or this flow inside of him, and it is like compared with Zeus and Ganymede. And I can also explain a little bit of background. Also, I was only Googled it. Ganymede is a prince of the Troy, and he is very beautiful and with golden hair, and in any case, a boy. So Zeus discovered him and found him very, very beautiful. So just then there's details varies in different authors. Some says just snapped him away. Some says then Zeus sent a eagle, a huge bird, to carry him to the heaven or Olympion. But in any case, he kidnapped him and make him a wine servant in front of him or in the Olympion. And then Ganymede's father was very, very sad. So it's a loss for him. And then Zeus saw that, so he sent him a divine horse as some remedy. That's the whole story. So basically, Ganymede is very beautiful, and Zeus kind of fall in love with him. Yeah, and just take him away. And here, then this flow is called like Eros desire. Yeah. Any questions or comments? If no, then I will go forward and then it gets too much. It overflows and runs away outside him, just like then a sunshine from the sun, kind of like. And then he put a very interesting passage here, also weird, because how can a young boy fall in love with an old guy? So basically, I think the problem here is like this. So Plato has an explanation. Think how a breeze or an echo bounces back from a smooth solid object to its source. That is how the stream of beauty goes back to the beautiful boy and sets him aflutter. So it's not because the beauty of the old man, but his beauty like fulfilled the whole soul of the old man, and the old man has too much beauty flow into him and then get outside of him and then flows back like echo to the boy. And then after this flows to the boy, then it enters through his eyes, which are its natural route to the soul. There it waters the passage for the winds, starts the winds growing, and fills the soul of the loved one with love in return. So basically now the mechanism will be described. After it runs like out of bounces back to the young boy, and it enters through his eyes, that's where, and then go to the passage of the winds. So the most important one is the winds get its nourishment, and after it gets the water, the wind starts to growing. The central part of this dialogue, right? The eros is in fact the winds, is growing winds, and fills the soul of the loved one with love in return. So now it's the love is also growing in the beloved. Then the boy is in love, but has no idea what he loves. He does not understand and cannot explain what has happened to him. It is as if he has caught an eye disease from someone else, but could not identify the cause. He does not realize that he is seeing himself in the lover as in a mirror. So when the lover is near, the boy's pain is relieved, just as the lover's is. And when they are apart, he yearns as much as he is yearned for, because he has a mirror image of love in him. Back love, through he neither speaks nor thinks of it as love, but as friendship. Still, his desire is nearly the same as the lover's, though weaker. He wants to say, touch, kiss, and lie down with him. And of course, as you might expect, he acts on these desires soon after they occur. It's an interesting passage. Any comments or questions? No? So basically, Hoquin, can you remember Skylar? Last time he was in the dinner, right? In Berlin, in that Chinese restaurant. And
Yes.
we discussed shortly Phaedrus and his first. I asked him how he found this passage and how he found this book, because he's kind of like a Plato expert. His first comment is he found this passage weird.
Why?
I should have asked him this question.
Okay.
I think he just think it cannot be the way love develops, right? It cannot be some breeze flowing from the lover, from the beloved out. It's just shining out and then bounced back to the beloved and going through his eyes and covered all his soul, and then there's wings are growing. So this kind of picture, I think he found this a little bit.
Doesn't agree with her.
And that's sometimes Plato, he just make vivid pictures. So it seems to me that the young boy is in love with himself, because only he has the beauty, only he is beautiful. At least from the form, as visible form here. Further question? No? So then, this next passage is very long, so maybe we just stop here for today. So hope you can enjoy the sunshine further.
Yeah. Thank you. It was a nice session today.
Thank you.
Thank you too. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.